Good afternoon, everybody. It's Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday. I know it's been a little while, but if it makes you feel any better, I shot an episode and I didn't like it. It was basically 15 minutes of a bunch of stuff I could say in like 15 seconds. So I decided I didn't like it. Then I went to redo the episode, and my charger for my camera thing wasn't plugged in properly. So when I tried to turn on my camera, it had no battery charge. So that was 2 failed attempts, which was a bit daunting. It was ever so slightly daunting. It was... hang on, I'm going to switch hands because they're doing stuff down there. Alright, so I'm going to go over the episode that didn't make the cut, and I'm going to go over the other episode, maybe, if I can remember what the heck I even said. Mostly because this episode is more than likely going to be quite long. Now let me explain. For starters, I'm on the longer, further away public trail, because last episode that I made that went up, I said I ran into somebody randomly, right? Well, they were 2 older individuals with a dog, and they had a very similar thought process as I do, and we ended up discussing other trails, because even though they were a bit older, apparently they don't mind, roughing it a bit. So it kind of worked out real well. Because after I explained to them that I'm limited to paying somebody to give me a ride, or the bus, which I guess is still paying somebody to give me a ride, or walking, I told them there ain't very many places I can go, because as I am in fair shape for a American in his prime, I suppose, walking 20 miles to take a 20-mile hike is a bit much for just about anybody. So, I was looking for trails close by. So we'll go over that first. I was chit-chatting with them for a little bit, and they told me that there is an abandoned mine near here. And the guy basically showed me some pictures and pointed in a direction. So, going off what he said, I went to Google Earth and looked to see if I could see any marks that could be some sort of establishment or some sort of previous structure. And it's questionable. It's questionable at best. But I figured I could narrow down some of the possibilities, and then I could just hike there, because I'm getting old, lazy, and fat, and more unmotivated. So actually not finding this place would probably be better than finding it for me, because then I'll just look again. If I find it and there's nothing worthwhile pillaging, like metals or anything to rip apart, then it'll be a fun little adventure, and then that'll be that. So I'm actually crossing my fingers that it takes me a couple of tries. Excuse me. Next, the zucchini fries episode. I wanted to drop a line about that. I stand by my word. For a zucchini dish, and for somebody that doesn't like zucchini, they were good. But eat them while they're hot, because as soon as they stop being hot, it gets real gross real fast. For instance, I started with 15, I think, maybe more, about 15. By the time I got to like the last 5, they were pretty nasty. And that's because, as they were cooling down, they were getting more and more soggy, less and less crispy, and for some reason, the zucchini flavor got stronger and stronger as they got colder. So it might just be me. Good old grandma. We're going to try to stay away from that subject for the most part today. We're going to get into that later, but for the early parts, we're going to stay away from that subject. But she did try them. I don't know if she ate the rest of them, but there was a handful left, and I threw them in the oven to reheat them, and I told her to eat them, and if she didn't like them, throw them away. Because now, like I said, I don't like to waste stuff, but this was an experiment, and if I didn't like them as they were cooling off, I can only imagine how much worse they are reheated. So, I'm not gonna put myself through that. I mean, I'm not even being like, I might be sounding a bit nitpicky or a bit whiny about it, but by the end of eating them, I was actually a little bit queasy. So, I mean, I don't think if I would have kept going, I would have threw up. I don't think I was going to get actually ill or sick, but I did. It was not a good feeling. So I told her, you don't like them, throw them away, because, I did eat half of them. It was an experiment. The job was done. So fantastic. I actually thought about the other person that made them and made them into coins, and I thought about it, and that might be a better option. Like I said, I would peel them and I would slice them thinner than what she sliced them, but that's personal preference. And the reason I say that coins might be a better choice is because whenever you're cutting the zucchini, and if you're doing it in fries, unless you remove the seeds, some of those fries are going to be almost all seed. And that was not the best idea. Because the squash were very young, it wasn't all that bad. Like, they weren't developed enough for it to be, like, soupy. But it was an afterthought. And something I wanted to make known. I think I may have, I can't really blame me, but I may have contributed to it. I may have killed my zucchini plants. We got a real bad storm the other day, and if you know anything about zucchini, my zucchini typically grew like in a bush, like bush form. Like, the leaves got big, grew outward, and that was how they grew. Because I planted my zucchini this year in a raised bed with a bit of a fence around it, they kind of wanted to go like in a vine, so, which isn't uncommon, but it was uncommon to me. And with the leaves being so big, when we got the big storm, they could, they caught the wind, and it damaged the main stalk, which killed a very large portion of the leaves. And it's so late in the year, it might be too late for it to really fix itself. I was contemplating ideas such as digging a big old hole and burying the stalk, like the roots and the stalk, all the way up to where the new leaves are growing, in a different location, and hope it would just bush out. But I'm afraid if I do that, they will die. It is something I might do, because I don't like squash, and I don't really care. And it would be a learning experiment, so I'm not entirely sure, but we will see. Beyond that, everything else is pretty good. I mean, the problem with my tomato plants, the only problem I have with my tomato plants, is that tomatoes are one of those things that if you have all the same type, they all kind of ripen at the same time, and then instead of having red tomatoes throughout the year, you have a couple red tomatoes, then a literal F-ton of red tomatoes, then a couple red tomatoes. And it's alright, but I kind of wished I could just have, one or two every day, rather than one or two for a month, and then like 600, and then one or two. So, it's not that bad. I mean, I got 9 plants total, and I'm probably looking at 300 tomatoes maybe. And by the time I spread out green ones to some of the family members that want them, they're too busy to chill out and talk on a regular basis. But you say I got something for free, they're ready to rock. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't mind. Like, half the reason I grow them is to share. So, like, 6 tomato plants is too much for 2 people, and I have 9 of them. So, I'm not being a jerk about it. I mean, it is a bit upsetting in a way that, I have that thought of donating, and most people don't have the time to even, say hi or find out, what happened to my life. Unless they already know, and that's another thing. But that's another subject we're going to stay away from, because it's just going to irritate me. And it doesn't matter anymore, It just doesn't matter. My friends are gone, family's gone, pets are gone, mostly. Everything's gone, and 5 years of my life have been soaked up. There's nothing I can do about it. So complaining is always therapeutic. It's one of those things that I said before. It's just like a sad reminder to other people out there like me that if you're in a situation like I am, you're screwed, and tough luck. And it's sad. It's just sad. Right. Anyways, I'm gonna go for a minute. Like I said, I want to make this real chill, and I want to make sure that the camera clips are in small sections. So I'm gonna go for a little bit till we get to the waterfall area, the little stone thing they built, and then we'll pick this back up. Where was I? Anyways, so the doctor stuff, everything's fairly copacetic. I mean, the skin thing that the chemicals caused is gone away. The skin problem I went in for is lessened. So we're going in the right direction. An interesting fact, I can't completely blame her, but it would have been something to probably put in the instructions, or, make sure you tell somebody. But, it is, in fact, a chemical in the peroxide group. So it does bleach colors, and it is a fairly harsh chemical. And it's a wash. So you kind of wash with it. It's not like a beauty mask or makeup. You don't put it on overnight. You wash with it. So I didn't know that. And that's where the damage came from. Now, I didn't Google this or anything at some point or another, and I was like, okay, there had to have been something I did wrong, because as I'm pretty sure it is a harsh chemical, I don't think it's that harsh of a chemical. So I figured it had to be something I did wrong. So I went and perused the instructions instead of just going by what I was told. And you're supposed to, massage it in for 2 minutes and then wash it away. And so it was my fault. I say, you know, I think she should have told me for multiple reasons. Like, one, you know, how often do I read instructions? Like, I'm not the typical guy that straight up disregards instructions, but I don't read it if I think it's straightforward. So, if that makes sense to you. So, I mean, if I can use knowledge I already have to save 5 minutes of reading, I do it. But I don't avoid instructions like the plague. You know, sometimes it's a useful tool. So, yeah, anyways. With that being said, it was negligence on my end, I suppose. It is fixed now, for the most part. I ain't got no more shedding skin like a lizard going on. So that's a good thing. I have a few minor issues, possibly, but they will be sorted out, hopefully. So, and the cholesterol stuff, it's gotta be genetics. I mean, from what she told me, and once again, I might do some of my own research, but what she told me is, you know, it's gotta be genetics. Like, my diet and exercise isn't so bad that it would be that big of a factor. Maybe the small bad that I do is amplified by the genetics, by having poor genes in that department, but I don't entirely know. So, like I said, I enjoy the sciences. I consider myself relatively intelligent with the sciences, but I'm not, you know, I'm no expert. So that's that. Anyways, I think that pretty much covers it. As far as like real life videos, I was thinking about doing a gaming video. I know it's been a little while since I did anything gaming wise, but I got an entire box of Ditto eggs that I was supposed to do a video with, and I'm tired of them being there. So I gotta find some unwilling victim, or willing victim, or whatever they might be, to join me for that at some point. And I built. It's been really bad weather the last 4 days, so I built a mushroom village on the server. So I might do a little bit of a build tour, because it's rather impressive, in my opinion. So, for not having cheat codes and world edit and gathering the resources mostly myself, it's pretty impressive. Not all myself. I didn't get all the resources myself. Most of them, yes, but I did have some assistance by a few people, a few of my townsfolks, and random people on the server that ain't jerks. So yeah, I don't want to take all the credit, but if they want to be honest, I basically did it all but some resource gathering. So, yeah, I might do a video on that. I'm thinking 2 videos on the server coming up. There's going to be one for the builds. I want to go through the town where it is now, because a lot of things have changed, and my new mushroom town, and that should be a relatively short one. And then a battle video with Ditto eggs, I think, is going to be in the near future. I also seen that somebody did a bit of a 118 spin-off of the Stone Block, FTB Stone Block, and I really like that, so I might check into that. But I'm willing to bet that I'm not going to be able to do it because of my PC. So, and I haven't been playing the newer versions of Minecraft, so there's a lot of things I don't know, so I might be a bit rusty. Like, even the core mechanics of 1.16, I'm not 100% familiar with. So we'll see how that goes. I'm ever so slightly concerned that if the Pixelmon server goes 1.16, that I might not be able to play anymore. Is that bad? I mean, it depends. It really does. Because I don't hate the server all the time. And it is something to do. But sometimes I choose doing it over doing stuff like this, and that kills me on the inside. So if I got banned or couldn't play anymore, it wouldn't be all that bad. But then when the weather's really crappy, you know, what am I gonna do? So that's the thought process there. Blackberries are looking great. I think they're a bit late. They're a bit small too, in consideration, but I don't know, wild blackberries, they ain't too bad, but they do seem a bit small. The autumn olives are really good too this year. I was considering making this an autumn olive video, but I don't think I'm going to. I think the last couple of times I tried to make wine, I'm pretty sure something tampered with it, because it either tasted really bad or it clearly tasted like it turned into vinegar. And it's not a hard chemical process. So it makes me think that it was found and tampered with rather than a flaw on my part. For instance, you can make ethanol with sugar, yeast, and water. That's all you need. So, and which could also turn to vinegar, but I mean, it's that simple. It's not a complicated process. If you want to make a specific type of wine, or you want to make a specific type of something, mead or something, then it can get a little more painstaking. But I'm not a big whiner. So doing it as an experiment and doing it as a nice little weekend drunk is kind of nice. But after having it turned bad the last 3 or 4 times, it was a bit daunting. So yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I want to try again or just say oh no, I can't even really buy my beer, because the last time I drank beer, it wasn't that it actually tasted bad. I literally got 5 deep and dumped my last one out because all it did was give me a headache and make me sick. So I don't know what's wrong, but something's wrong. Now here's something worth talking about. Wild grapes. They grow here every year, and there is a ton this year. Oh man, that is sour. If I come back this way, I very well might clean this bush completely off. It was really... It's like nature's warhead, man. It's like nature's toxic waste, or whatever you want to call it. That was... that was really sour. Oh man. Here's the autumn olives while we're at it. There's still buttonberries on too, which is very strange. By now they should be gone. They might be the late ones. These are the autumn olives. I got one of these bushes growing in my yard now, but I don't think it's big enough to mature fruit. Maybe it's me, because that was like really kind of bitter. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm messed up. That's what it is. Or maybe I'm in a simulation and the person in control is just a sick, disgusting piece of trash. That's it. I'm in a simulation. And the game master is just a complete piece of garbage. I don't know, but I am sick of hills, man. Hills are annoying. So, I guess let's talk about the plan, alright? So, my biggest regrets. My biggest regrets in life. My biggest regret in life is wasting so much time here. I was gonna say I really regret moving back here, in which that's kind of true, but I did get to see my pap for a little while, so after putting some thought into it, it wasn't a complete regret. So, the biggest regret I have is how much time I wasted here. My dad basically stole my entire childhood. And once I was free, as soon as I turned 18, good old Granny did a good job there too at keeping me under control, so to speak. So there went another 2 or 3 years of my life. Then I went to get to know dear old mom, which my mom and dad split up when I was 5. I went to get to know dear old mom, and turns out I had stepbrothers and sisters, and that was an adventure. And that's where I finally got to unwind and have some semblance of a life. Sooner or later, I came back here because one thing led to another that caused problems out there. And I didn't really have anywhere else to go. I tried several outlets, but I didn't really have a clear cut. I didn't really have a clear cut path. Like, there's a way to go. I can get through it. But that's not a clear cut path. See, ironic, right? Let's, whoa, shoot, what was that? What the heck was that? It's gone now. It had to be a toad. And, let's go. This is the direction. No guarantee we're going all the way. But we're gonna go a little bit. So the plan is to, well, be a bum. The plan is to be a bum. Because I'm thinking, I'm going to take my bike, take what money I accumulated, take my backpack, and leave. And whatever happens, happens. I figured, like I said before, worst case scenario is, I get arrested for something, or I die. So, right now, worst case scenario is I get arrested, I die, or I waste the rest of my life here with no future. I'm not happy with those options. So, as dumb as it sounds, because I am in fact inexperienced. I know a thing or two, but nowhere near enough to do this, in my opinion. But at the same time, people have done this. People have went and, jumped ship, left society, backpacked across the country, whatever you want to call it, all the time. So, it's not as crazy as it sounds. And like I said, the biggest regret would be me not doing it sooner. Because now I'm getting ugh. I'm getting heavier. I'm getting older. There's something to look at. Don't leave. Don't leave. I kind of figure we might see this guy here. I don't want to really disturb him, but I do want to get a look at him. That's not what I wanted to do. We are disturbing him. Did he go in that big old hole? He might have went in that big old hole. He might be gone. We might have missed it. Sheesh, there's a lot of holes. Yeah, I think we missed them. Long story short, it was a salamander, or a newt, that was probably 4 inches long. So that was kind of sad. Oh, the bugs are gonna drive me freaking nuts, man. I would like to disturb him. Let's see. We came this far. That's disappointing. Wasn't quick enough. What else is new? Let's move this one. There might be something underneath here. Yeah, crazy 30-pound raccoon. No, looks empty. No one's home. We missed the big guy. That's sad. That's sad. Alright, you know what? It was fun looking, but one more bug buzzes in my freaking ear. I might have a freaking conniption. So let's go. Moving on. So, I'm hoping that it's in this direction. I'm not entirely sure. But if we do it right, at the very least, we're going to come out on a road. And then that road, we can follow it to my left for 2 miles and get right back on the trail. So it's not that bad. Worst case scenario, we have a really long video. So let's do this after I stop sweating and dying to bugs. So, as I said, is it my smartest option? Well, probably not. I mean, my smartest option is probably laying here and waiting to die. But, you know, I don't, not a big fan of throwing my life away. So, you know, compromise is okay. Compromise is okay. You can, if you want to have a life with other people, if you want to build a relationship, either romantic or like in a town, like as a town member, as a functioning member of a town society, compromise is okay. Giving up your total self to appease the ones around you is wrong. Being somebody's lapdog, being manipulated and lied to, controlled and used, that's wrong. There goes one. I had the camera turned the other way, so we missed him again, but he's there. There he is. He's a little guy, though. That's a salamander. Use those guys for fishing. But in my situation, if I do this, well, I'm pretty sure I'm doing this. But that might someday constitute a dinner. And the thing is, as long as there's down trees, you'll find those guys. Typically. I took a hike a long time ago, and I probably found 2 or 3 dozen of them. They were a different type. They were a tree newt rather than a salamander, but the principle's the same. See, that's something I expected. Not out here in the middle of nowhere, but I expected to see them sooner or later. There's a posted sign. Now, what is out here that needs to be protected? You know, here's something, you know. So I always kind of, you know, butt heads with good old grandma. And most of the time I am right. But I do want to give credit where credit is due, so to speak. There was one thing that she said to me when I was growing up that I actually liked. Do unto others as you want done unto you. Which basically means don't do something to somebody that you wouldn't want to happen to you. And like I said, not a big fan of good old grandma. That is one thing that I do, in fact, really like the idea of. Makes you wonder how people do things that are so awful. You know, not everybody has morals like me. Speaking of mushrooms, I don't think that is chicken of the woods, but it might be like an earlier stage of it. It's typically that orange color, and it very well could just be what it looks like before it starts to actually grow, because this is like a very young batch. Might be something to check out later. Always wanted to, you know, try chicken of the woods. This tree has been completely and utterly destroyed. I originally kind of thought it might have been porcupines clawing into it, maybe, for like grubs and stuff. But some of it kind of looks like woodpecker marks. Yeah. Not entirely sure. I do know, I have a bit of a cheat sheet here. I do know that a porcupine does in fact live close by here. So that's why I initially thought porcupine. But the holes are kind of small to be porcupine claw marks. And it might be a combination though. It might be a bit porcupine. It might be a bit spider webs in my hair, or what little hair I got. Combination of porker and pecker. Woodpecker and porcupine. Combination of porker and pecker. I wonder if that's demonetizationable. Doubtful, considering I'm not monetized. Let's get up this rock face, or pile of rocks, carrying a camera without breaking my ankle or knee. Shouldn't be too difficult. The bad part about it is, these rocks are big enough to do damage, but still small enough to move under my feet. So it's one of those situations. I think this is the best course of action. Maybe. The good news is, even if something incredibly bad happens here, I can crawl my way to the trail. I'm not that far away, and it's all downhill to get there. So let's not worry about it all that much. But I do think I'm going to use both my hands now. It's a little bit of a trek. So I'll get to you when I get up to that level spot that looks like it might very well be some sort of trail. Don't mind the wardrobe change. I brought my hat with me because I keep spider webs away and less spider webs and block out some of the sun and keep the sweat out of my eyes. And yeah. So went pretty far. Can't really see anything anymore except woods. That's not a good thing because I should be able to see something by now. Like I've been hiking for a little while since I stopped talking. So I'm thinking try to fight my way further through, maybe for another 5 minutes. And if I don't see anything, I'll just go back. Because at least back is downhill. So it'll be a failed attempt, but like between the trail and the road, I don't think it was more than a mile distance. Maybe a mile and a half. And the spot on the map was somewhere in between. So I'm thinking, like, I know climbing takes a bit more time, but I think I should have been closer. See, I can hear quads and four-wheelers, which isn't that weird. I mean, sometimes I can hear them at my house, and it's 3 times as far away from this than this is, so it's not super weird. But I wonder, I can't hear anything that way, and there should be a road over there eventually. So I don't think it's a super popular road, but it's a road. Yeah, I think that's the plan. I think I'm going to sit, hydrate up a bit, and I think I'm going to go about 5 more minutes that way. And if I don't see anything, I think I'm just going to cut my losses and double back. Because this isn't a difficult hike, but I don't want to... It's one of those things like when I'm climbing the power lines, I know the destination. When I'm climbing the hills, I know the destination. When I was looking for that church, I had a general idea of the destination. This, it's like throwing a dart at a dartboard with your eyes closed and hoping for the best. So, as much as I love hiking, at some point I gotta kind of call it and say, like, hey, you know what? It was a good attempt. Maybe I'll see those people again, or maybe I'll try a different angle. There was 3 ways they said to get there. This was the one I thought would be the easiest, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. The other way is taking the power line, which I think is going to be longer but easier. And the third way is basically unreachable by me, because I don't drive. It's going in from some other entrance somewhere. So, we'll see what happens. I don't want to drag this out too much. I can sit here and talk forever, but I'm just stalling. And you know what? If I can make it back with an hour of daylight left, there's a strong possibility I'm cutting the grass. So yeah. Now that I heard. It was something big. There's no way it could be a person. Like, we're not so far off trail that you wouldn't see a person, but we're pretty far off trail. It had to be a deer. I highly doubt it was a bear. I've never seen a bear before, so it's possible. I mean, it's possible, but I spend a lot of time in the woods to never see one, so. Well, maybe this will be a found footage. This will be a found footage thing. Alright, I'm gonna go drink some water, see if I can pinpoint where that noise is coming from. Welcome back. So I think my 5 minutes is up. We're not turning around, because that's back. That's forward. We found a trail. And going back that way is just not gonna happen. Granted, I can get back easily, because I'm back at the creek, and the creek will run right down along the trail eventually. In which, if I had two brain cells to bloody rub together, I would have just walked the creek up in the first place, because there's a 90% chance the creek is coming from the mine. So yeah, that was and even if it wasn't coming from the mine, it was more likely coming from somewhere, right? There's a source, and owie. And it would have more than likely been a fairly clear trail. Mildly slippy, a little bit wet. I wouldn't be like trying to fight my way through this garbage. And another reason I kept going was I was pretty sure I heard somebody. And usually, if I hear people out in the middle of the woods, I avoid them. But in this instance, getting a ETA wouldn't be a horrible thing. And here we are. Not at the mine. This is the creek. So I think I'm going to walk my way up the creek bed, because then I got a road in and out of here. So that's what we're gonna do. And the way some of these trails look, I would like to think they're animal trails, but I'm not too sure about all that. Some of them look, I don't know. I wouldn't say, I don't know. They look like people have traveled them once or twice, is what I would say. This is probably also where we heard that big crash from, because, you know, something was probably here getting a drink, and I either spooked it, or somebody else did. What's that crap that people like Wendigos? Maybe I didn't hear a person. Maybe it was a Wendigo. I mean, it did sound female, and if you're gonna rope me in, more likely you'd have to be a chick. Oh man. So I went down to the store, which I'm gonna be stopping that. I'm gonna be laying off the energy drinks, I think. I want to start saving money. I'm not gonna be able to constantly have energy drinks if I do what I'm doing. So I want to spiderweb. I'm gonna stop all that, hopefully, or at least knock it back a ton. But I went and do I want to follow the creek, or I want this way or that way? This way or that way? Choose your own adventure. A or B? A or B? That almost looks like a wall. One thing is, this looks like a trail. So this leads somewhere. Or it was a trail at one point. So it leads somewhere. The creek, well, it more than likely has an origin, and it more than likely leads to where I'm looking for. It might not be as easy to get out of there when we get closer. So I think the designated trail wouldn't be a bad idea. And there's another trail. So we got to be getting close to something. Then I went down to pick up I had to pick up milk, and I had to pick up the energy drink. So I went down. I ran into an old acquaintance's uncle, and he asked me. He's a weird old guy. Like he is a weird old fellow. He is more interest in my love life than I do. He asked me if I was hooking up with anybody. Or he made some sort of perverse comment about getting milk. And I was like, unfortunately, the only chick I'm around is my grandmother, and I think her milk supply dried up a long time ago. So he was like, well, why don't you hook up with people? And I'm like, there's not. Oh! It's alright. So, it's the second time that happened today. Oh. Where I come from, we call this a devil's club. See the spines? They are kind of painful. But, the first one, I almost grabbed, full hand around it. Luckily for me, I stopped myself. That one, I thrusted my pinky into a spine. Anyways, he's like, why don't you hook up with people, right? So I'm like, first off, if I could be hooking up with people, I'd probably be doing it. Secondly, there's not many around here that tickle my fancy. So, I was like, during the whole event that we had in town, I seen like 3 people that I was remotely attracted to. One, I think, was a bit of a skank. By the way the people she hung out with and the way she dressed. And that's not really what I'm into. The second one, I'm pretty sure was underage. And the third one, one was too hot, one was too cold, one was just right. It's funny, right? And the third one, I thought was kind of perfect. So I went ahead and went for it. And she never got back to me. So it's not like I have the best track record. I'm pretty sure that's a horse track. Actually, I'm positive that's a horse track, because nothing else makes that kind of track but a horse. Which is interesting. Anyways. I'm picky, That's for sure. I'm picky. And it's not like in the sense of, I gotta have a hard-working, beautiful model as a girlfriend. It's just, I'm picky in a sense of, I want what I want, and I don't want to compromise, in that area. So many relationships end, people get cheated on, divorces happen, kids end up without their family, and, it's not something I just want to jump into. I don't want to start something unless I know there's going to be at least a chance at some sort of future. Because, other than the instant gratification of a physical relationship, there's not much to really gain from it. Otherwise. This is actually a creek too, but those are definitely horse tracks. Anyways, not going to get too into my love life. It doesn't really, there isn't one. So, yeah, it is what it is, you know. I just thought it was funny. You know, he's like 60 years old, and he's more interested in what I do than well, maybe it's because he can't do it no more. And he's like trying to live vicariously through the younger men in the town. He's like, tell me all about it. Can I smell your fingers? Now, he's not that creepy, but it is mildly unsettling. Oh man, if this was all for nothing, I'm going to be very upset, because we are getting very far away. I'm gonna go. I need more water. I'll let you know if we come to an opening. I think I made a mistake, guys. I've been hiking for a long time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not concerned that I'm lost. I mean, even if I'm lost, I mean, we're talking like maybe like an extra 2 miles to my hike. Nothing. Maybe 3. Nothing too drastic. Here's another good part of my lucky day. Look at the size of that wasp nest. I'm going to try to sneak on past it and hope for the best. It shouldn't bother me, but that is in a not so great spot with the trail and stuff. Sheesh, and they're everywhere too. Should I emulate my grandfather and try to hit it with a rock? Just kidding, I'm not a psycho. Not that I think he's a psycho, I just a little far away for anaphylactic shock. Another bad part. I was trying to get around a puddle, and I hit this plant on the side. It is irritating. It was instantaneous irritating. That's all I can say. It's all right now. Like, it's been about 20 minutes, and it died off. But it was irritating. Alright, I think that's the way I should go. But having a crossroads ain't a good thing. Now that is a bunch of posted signs. That means there's probably a person up there, right? I'm telling you right now, guys, I'd be willing to bet that we're not finding the mine today. I think the mark I seen on the map is going to be a horse farm. That's what I'm thinking. And they put a sign on top of a sign. I wish they would, instead of wasting their time putting up signs that tell people they're not allowed here, they would put up road maps. And here's something cool. Look at that. Now that's a mushroom. I have no idea what it is, so I won't eat it. But that is it's almost like it's fake. Like, it almost looks like it's wax. And they've been there a while, I'll bet on that. And we're gonna venture up this way a little bit, because like I said, I'd rather go uphill, find out I'm wrong, and then double back downhill. It's like this, you know. If I go downhill and find out I'm wrong, not only do I feel defeated, then I gotta climb a hill. So, going the wrong way shouldn't be a punishment. So, figured go uphill, and if I find out I'm wrong, and I feel defeated, I can at least have the silver lining of knowing I'm going downhill on the way back. Dried up creek bed. There's a lot of those around here. Alright, I think that's good enough of a check-in until I find the place. Or turn around. If I turn around, I'm not turning around, I don't care. I'll hike for the next 2 days. I got an apple and a power bar. I'll hike for the next 2 days, I'm not turning around. But, too far now. But, yeah, I am kind of curious. My battery's down to like half, so I'll get back to you in a little bit. All right, I made the executive decision to turn around from that branch of the trail. I'm gonna try the other way, and if this ain't it, I'm gonna turn around, because this patch of woods runs between a road and a trail. So this patch of woods, unless I got lost in a sense that I'm going in a linear manner between, like, parallel to the road and the trail, I should have hit one of them by now. So I'm gonna go this way, maybe 5 minutes. If I don't see anything, I'm gonna have to call it and take the creek bed back, because it's a sure way. It's at least a definite way out. It's disappointing, and it'll take probably an hour and a half, maybe 2, but at least I won't be ill prepared to camp in the woods overnight, because that would be not the greatest thing in the world. Tell you one thing, I'm definitely not making it back in time to cut the grass. I'll tell you that. The sun's already, it's got to be about 6 o'clock. The smart person that I am, I didn't bring any way to tell time. So, which is bad in so many ways, because now I'm far enough away that if I twisted my ankle, it would be annoying. It would be really annoying. So, the more you know. Alright, I'm going to tackle this big hill, and we'll see where it goes. And if it's a disappointment, we'll take the creek bed back and have a chit chat on the way. Alright, I went to the top, at least of this hill, all the way up there, and I couldn't see anything. So, looks like we're taking the L on this one. It's disappointing, but I mean, ultimately I got what I wanted. You know, it's not what I, it's like my life, you know, and the evil little leprechaun that grants my wishes. You know, I got my wish, just not exactly what I wanted. I wanted a new trail. I wanted to explore something new. That I did. Unfortunately, we didn't hit the destination, but then again, that kind of works in my favor as well, because that means I can do more research and try again. So, it's disappointing. It is in fact disappointing. But not unexpected for a first try. The thing that I am sincerely concerned with is that I went really far. We are really far out there right now. And I should have hit that road. I should have heard something. Like there should have been a car, or I should have seen some sort of something indicating that there was a road. But I did not. So yeah. It's not good. But the bad part about it is, if I would have found the road, I would have guaranteed an easy way out. And that's the bad part. Because now that I haven't found the road, if I make a wrong turn, I could be walking around in circles up here for a while. So, and I'd say I got about 60% of my energy left. So, not bad. Not bad, but not something I'd really want to not something I really want to risk either. So we're gonna go back the way we came, and I think as soon as we hit the creek bed that goes back to the trail, hopefully, oh, salamander. Hopefully, as soon as we hit the creek bed that goes back to the trail, I'll just follow it right out of here. This is the spider webs. There's the way we went when the trail forked. There's the hill I just climbed. This is the way back. There was one other intersection, and I'm hoping that I don't make the wrong choice. But seeing that the sun is probably about 2 hours from going down, I think I'm gonna walk and eat my apple. Oh shoot. Bee's nest, it scared me. And I'm gonna get around this. Oh, I'm gonna get around this. And now I'm gonna go. I'm gonna eat my apple while I'm walking. And let's cross our fingers, shall we? Worst case scenario. Now, worst case scenario would either be I hurt my ankle or I have to crash out here for the night. And either of those things, hurting my ankle is more probable than me crashing out here. Because, I mean, I can still hear the quads, so I can't be that far away. They're a lot quieter, but I can still hear them that way. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, saving camera battery. So, all right, so I'm lost. I'm lost. Now, I'm lost. I'm not overly concerned. Couple of reasons. One, the sun sets that way by my house, on the other side of the hill. So the town is that way, because I went the opposite direction. I didn't pass the house that way. So as long as I keep heading that way, I'll hit a town. Might not be my town, but I'm not going to keep going deeper in the woods. Next is all this water is flowing somewhere. And I know where the river is, and the river is also really close to my town. So I'm not concerned. Not really. It's just the thing of not knowing where you're at. It's like it's a mental thing, you know? I don't know exactly when I'm going to get out of here. So it's like if I knew this trail led out, well, I guess I wouldn't be lost, but it'd be like peace of mind. Even if I found a person that said, yeah, keep going that way, it'd be peace of mind. But not knowing is torture. But that, my friends, is the train I hate so much. And it's probably, by the sounds of things, I'm a little out of practice, but I'd say 200 to 300 yards that way. So I'm headed in the right direction. The train tracks, the river, and the sunset is what I gotta head towards. So I'm not concerned, but I'm concerned. It's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I want you guys to understand the mental processes necessary to be involved in my life, to be me. It's like, even when I was lost before, I got lost before once. I wasn't worried because I know enough that I'm gonna hit something sooner or later. Like, even if I literally had to spend a night out here, like, even if I did, or even if I had to try to travel through this in the dark, you know, that would not be an ideal situation, but I can guarantee I'm gonna get out of her. Like, whether it be tonight or tomorrow, I will get out of here. It's just daunting. It's ever so slightly daunting to not be sure, to not have certainty, to not know. Much like my life, you know, I don't know. I don't really know what went wrong. I don't know what the culprit, who the culprit, or how the culprit managed to disassemble my life in such a interesting fashion. And that bothers me probably more than the fact that it actually happened. Like, sorry, removing webs. Not, like, I will survive. I always survive. Might not survive well, might not be happy, but I always survive. This, I don't know where I'm at. The uncertainty kills me, but I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna make it out of here. Telling myself that's a nice little pep talk, though, eh? Nah, for real. I am gonna save the rest of my battery in case something does happen that I'm actually screwed. Because if that happens, I might want to do a mediocre documentary of how much of an idiot I am. Alright, catch you guys in a bit. Oh, guys. It's a bloody miracle. I'm being a bit over dramatic. Like I said, I wasn't too worried. But I was a little worried. Ta-da. Not what we were looking for. But definitely nice to see. Ugh. And we're on the public trail. About a mile and a half away from the head of the trail, I think. Oh, that's fan-freaking-tastic. And you know what? It's probably about an hour left of daylight. Maybe I'll still cut the grass. I think I'm kidding. I don't think it's so much that I'm incapable. I just think that it's going to take me about another 35 minutes to get back to the house. So that would give me 55 minutes to cut the grass. Granted, my natural clock is ticking correctly. Excuse me, sorry about that. Oh man, but I am glad, because I was down to my last bottle of water, so that would have been really annoying. Alright, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This was actually kind of fun. All the creek beds and slippy rocks were a bit worrying. And those stinging nettles are torture, man. I tell you what, if I ever find someone I don't like, or find somebody that's mean enough to hurt my feelings, but dumb enough to come on a hike with me, I'm gonna take them to a big patch of those things and then kick them into it. It's not like, it's not a long-lasting pain. It is so annoying. It was like getting stung by a bee, except the feeling was like in a bigger surface area, but lasted like 3 times less the amount of time. A third of the time that it would, like a bee sting would. Because I'm not wearing sleeves, I bumped into them a couple of times. I am definitely glad I chose pants today. Otherwise, I would be very upset. I would have been in some sort of trouble then, because walking through those would be torture. So, there was even a few that got me through my pants, but it wasn't that bad because, you know, the briars on the stinging nettles are really, really short. So it basically barely touched the the tip of it barely touched my skin. But I could feel it. Like all of a sudden I'd get like this twinge and be like, oh, well, there it is. I would have showed you guys when I was conserving camera just in case if I did get lost. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. And I'm just going to enjoy a nice peaceful walk. Later. So like get a bunch of like palm prawns, right? Like those big, long, thin leaves. And then like tie a bunch of the stinging nettles to it. And then tie it all to a broom handle. And then just like go around brutally beating people with it. Like, unless they're allergic, you wouldn't really hurt them. But man, that would be annoying.